Andrea Mitchell, like the lapdog that she is doing what all good regime mouthpieces have done since, propaganda and propaganda has existed, which is regurgitate the regime's talking points, which are usually based in divide and conquer, create issues where they don't exist to make sure that the powerful stay powerful by keeping the weak fighting amongst themselves. So moving on to the Epstein segment, we have some more DeSantis kerfuffles. This guy finds himself
Dane
in the media.
He clearly doesn't give.
What did he do this time?
Talk about us.
What did he do this time?
He says black people don't exist.
He did. He said that?
He said it, Dane. He had a bill that says black people don't exist. That history doesn't exist. And that slavery wasn't even a thing because, as we all know, black people don't exist.
Oh, I see the circular logic in that.
Right.
Yeah.
You see that? And if I was, I don't know, on CNN or MSNBC, they'd be like, you know what? It's a very intelligent thought. He did say that. He did say that.
Oh, yeah. They're not saying that his thought saying that is intelligent, but somebody pointing out and getting mad about it, right?
That he wrote a bill that said black people don't exist.
Right.
And they would never refute it because...
Yeah, they'd be like, of course he said that because, of course.
He threatens our very existence within our social norms. And he's Hitler. He's Hitler. He's going to round up all the black people and he's going to put them in chains again.
Well, dear listener and viewer, if you have not broken through that 47 layers of satire we just laid down on that deal, DeSantis stays in the news because, again, much like Trump, these people, and I mean the ones in the mainstream media, just can't stay away from making this guy as likable as possible by just being so hyperbolic and over the top with everything they say about him. And this week, I'm not going to play the video, but I will link to it below. There's a tweet involving an interview between NBC News' Andrea Mitchell interviewing Kamala Harris. And she asserts, right, that Ron DeSantis is censoring Florida schools to the extent that slavery will not be taught anymore, period, full stop, didn't exist, and nor its aftermaths. So as far as Andrea Mitchell is concerned, in the state of Florida, DeSantis has said kids will not learn anything whatsoever about the horrible institution of slavery and its aftermaths. If this is sounding familiar to you, this is the exact same thing that the media did with the Don't Say Gay bill. It didn't say at all what they said it said, and then they created a media storm for about a month and a half saying it said what it clearly.
And what happened after that? Did they repeal the bill?
Nope. I still hear people refer now people refer to it as the so-called Don't Say Gay because they can't exactly say that that's exactly what it says because they know their hand's been in the cookie jar, but they still want to put that tagline out there. So they say, oh yeah, DeSantis and the so-called Don't Say Gay.
A little connotative value to it.
Yeah, but it still stays in the American lexicon, and that's what they want to stick.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So let's just get this straight for our viewers at home. There's one of the biggest slave trades that's ever existed in the world to date. Going on in Libya.
I don't know if it's one of the biggest, but it is ongoing out and wide in the open.
It's the biggest today.
Right.
Okay. So this side that's so against Libya or so against slavery that we definitely won't give aid to Libya.
Yeah.
We definitely won't give funds to Libya. And we certainly won't help them support themselves with this slave trade that's going on over there, right? Because we're so against slavery in this country and it's terrible and no one should have ever done it ever.
Well, forget stopping it. Let's talk about who started it. Now, I don't have direct quotes right at hand about what Andrea Mitchell had to say about when old wise Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, orchestrated the invasion of Libya, the overthrow of Gaddafi that led to the situation where there is an actual real live open slave trade today in the country of Libya, right? But I know for a fact NBC News did nothing but cheerlead that. And I'm sure that Andrea Mitchell had nothing but great things to say for her Lord and Savior, Hillary Clinton. So forget about what the United States is doing about it now that they've created the situation that it exists. People like her and people like from the Culture Corner segment that will attack anybody that rages against the war machine always cheerlead that shit. So yeah, feign outrage over something that's not actually happening while you cheerlead the activities that actually create that thing happening.
I guess it all boils down to how do you really, at the end of the day, if you have two brain cells to rub together, how do you take these people seriously? How do you take them at their fucking word anymore? Like, if they haven't proven time and time again, I don't want to get on my soapbox. I'm the funny guy. Just want to crack jokes and make deep jokes, Fart on camera. But I don't know how the fuck you take them more seriously than me, to be honest with you. I mean, I've spoke more truth on this podcast trying to work a dick joke into what I'm saying than most of these career politicians ever have.
Or media mouthpieces.
Yeah. Sure, media mouthpieces. But again, let's not forget, she was talking to the Vice President, Kamala Harris, who definitely didn't do any of the things.
She didn't push back on that claim, Kamala Harris didn't.
I don't know.
She just let her run with it as if it was absolutely established fact.
Of course, she thought she could go, I got this shit in improv. And if you want a little viewer inside tip, if you ever want to enjoy the next Kamala Harris interview, speech, whatever, just watch her eyes. Because what she'll do, she'll start off real confident. Well, I don't know what DeSantis knows, but slavery was real and it happened. And then all of a sudden she gets this like glazed over look like, oh fuck, I've gone off cue.
I'm out of line. They didn't give me any more than that.
I can pull it back. So slavery was slavery and it existed and it was black people and there were boats and there was a passage of time. And when they were on the passage of time, I think it was one of the names, wasn't one of the names of the boats? Anyway, the passage of time brought them over here to chains, and then now they're not slaves because we told them they're not. And we definitely don't have things in place that make it impossible for them to get out of where they're at now because it threatens us a little bit. Anyway, what were we talking about? DeSantis is terrible. Right.
So... and the Epstein moment is really like where this all stems from. So again, the reason why we brought up the Don't Say Gay bill is just like this. The basis of what Andrea Mitchell's claim is over the last few weeks, DeSantis has pulled some state support away from AP Black History. And this is painted as DeSantis doesn't want Black history taught in the state of Florida. Now, I don't know the specifics of the curriculum that he objected to or whatever. Again, you can probably find that anywhere and look it up for yourself. But I'll just give you what he said. So now you'll have what Andrea Mitchell says, you'll have what he says, and then you can go find the facts for yourself. What he said is, it's not the fact that it's Black history that I don't want these AP courses, not all courses to not teach it. The AP ones is because the AP ones started was using Black history to try to inject things like gender theory in the AP Black history courses. They were starting to talk about for whenever in whatever capacity gender theory and CRT and all of that different kind of stuff, which again DeSantis has been going against for quite some time. But you can see, I hope, again, if he's telling the truth, maybe he's lying. You make that decision for yourself. But I hope that you can see that saying, well, I have a problem with these AP classes because they're not just teaching Black history. They're trying to use that as a Trojan horse to get in gender theory and these other radical things that have nothing to do whatsoever with Black history. And you can see that that's not exactly the same thing as saying that we're never going to talk about slavery in all schools at all levels or its aftermath. That's not the same thing, Andrea. So again, look into it for yourself, see what the courses were teaching, see what DeSantis objected to, and decide for yourself. Maybe Andrea was completely right and she totally didn't mischaracterize that at all. And again, the Epstein part of that is Andrea Mitchell, like the lapdog that she is doing what all good regime mouthpieces have done since, propaganda and propaganda has existed, which is regurgitate the regime's talking points, which are usually based in divide and conquer, create issues where they don't exist to make sure that the powerful stay powerful by keeping the weak fighting amongst themselves. That's period, full stop, all it is. That's the government MO start to finish. And Andrea Mitchell is more than happy to play her part.
Well, and then the point is I know it's all mindless dribble, but within mindless dribble, you have to be held accountable too. If you're on screen, people get canceled for saying some off-colored shit when they're on screen. So during the video, if you can bother to watch it, God knows I barely could. Kamala says that no one should tell people what is best for the child to learn other than the teachers and the parents that know their children best. And we need to adhere to what the parents and the teachers that know them best and how we should teach them. I'm paraphrasing, but it sounded just as smart as me being stupid right there.
Surprising she's giving parents any credit.
Hold on.
Because they're always.
But here's my point. How many videos of enraged parents do we see at school boards going into, there's a book teaching my kindergartner how to suck cock. There's a teacher telling my child that it's okay to not feel okay and that maybe we should look into gender reassignment. And then there's other parents shouting down CRT saying, my son had to raise their hand as a racist because he doesn't have the right colored skin. I'm offended by that. And you know what we get from that? Is there a national outcry that, you know what, you're right, we overstepped, we need to pull back right now? No, there's none of that. They're still teaching CRT, which is why DeSantis wrote this fucking bill in the first place. Like, they don't correct, they don't adjust, they just shove it down our throats and say, accept it, or you're not one of us. But if there's enough of you're not one of us, then they'll change. But they'll only change after we all go, no, we're not doing this shit. I.e., mask mandates, other thing mandates that we won't mention on this podcast. Eventually, when we just go, no, we're not doing it, they go, okay, we get it. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. They don't, again, going back to where we started this whole fucking episode from, how do you take them seriously anymore? I make fart jokes and dick jokes, and I make more sense as a drunken buffoon on this podcast weekly than they ever do up there on Capitol Hill, stone cold sober, we assume. I don't know, man. I'm throwing my hands up in the air. I don't know. I don't know.